live from the Export Beer Garden Studios and brought to you by Export Ultra, the beer to get you through a 5-day hangover. This is the Agenda podcast for the 1st of October.
The Agenda Podcast, the home of sporting nonsense and claptrap. Brought to you by Export Ultra.
Morning, Jeremy.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm going to be honest, worse than yesterday.
Yeah, I know the feeling. So am I.
Yeah, we landed on Friday. It is Tuesday now. And I'm just wondering when it's going to get better.
Yeah, I think what happens is when you go away to Europe for 7 days, and we went for 7 days. We were on the ground for 7 days.
Yeah.
Or was it 6?
6 nights, 7 days?
Yeah, that's not many. So by the time you arrive after your 27-hour flight, and before we start talking about this, a lot of people will be saying Crimea River.
Oh.
But before you, and I'm not complaining about the trip.
I'm not.
Right?
It's worth it. This pain is worth it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But I just say that when you arrive after a 27-hour flight, and then you immediately, on day one, tuck right into proceedings within hours of landing.
And not stop.
And then not stop. So that first night, there was not a lot of sleep. The second night, you really got some terrible jet lag. You're still on the time clock from New Zealand, which is 12 hours around about. So you've reversed the day and night. And then you go through the day, and then you go through the night, and you don't stop drinking for 7 days. And then you get on another flight. And then you make your way home, 27 hours, and then you're back into it again. You really haven't had time to adjust to the first part of the trip, which is going over to Europe. You've probably just got used to it when you get back on the plane to come back to New Zealand. And then at that point, your body goes, hold on here. What you are doing to me is not good. And it really punishes you.
So basically your body says, I'm shutting down.
Add to that,
I'm shutting down.
I'm sick.
Yeah. And talk me through, you had a few issues on the flight home with your underwear.
Oh, did I ever?
What did you do with that underwear? Did you just chuck it out? Did you revive it?
I put it in the wash and it made the whole wash smell. So I had to put the wash through again and have another go. But I had issues I'm getting old and I just realized I'm having a lot of issues. I had some kind of
leakage,
nasal infection up top. I'll start from the top. I had nasal infection. Yeah. I'm blind.
Yeah.
Now, I had a nasal infection, which was terrible for when you're flying with your ears blocking. And then go down through the throat.
Yep.
There was very sore throat for some reason.
Yeah, same.
Terrible. And then the lungs seemed to be fine, although I did smoke 2 cigarettes while I was away.
Just the 2 on a Ferris wheel.
Yep. Stupid idea. And then going down through the downstairs area, I was actually okay through my guts were fine. You had a lot of problems.
I had some issues there. I had some issues there.
I was fine there. And then turns out I got terrible chafing in around the back passage, which I've never had before. But I blame checking out of the hotel in the morning, wandering around in Munich all day,
going to Hitler's favourite restaurant,
his favourite Italian restaurant in Munich.
I can see why it was his favourite.
Beautiful ravioli.
Yeah,
lovely, good service too. And then getting on a plane at 10:30 at night, 27 hours flying back to New Zealand.
Yeah.
Without a change of undies, there's sweating going on there. It was hot inside of the Munich airport
Oh my
terminal.
God. I didn't know if it was us or whether it was hot. I was looking around for other people to see if they were sweating as much as we were, but I didn't see many.
I was having some problems in that Munich airport terminal, I've got to be honest with you. But the low point came for me when we were flying back just before we landed in Dubai. I hit rock bottom at that point. I lost everything I had.
And you still
had such a sore bum. The chafing was so intense. I had a rash.
I had the same.
And I had a bung knee. Everything was wrong. Every part of my body.
But the thing is, I would do it all over again.
Oh,
I would get on a plane tomorrow to do that again. That was a great trip. Throughout 3 days in Amsterdam, 3 days in Munich. And we'll probably put this to bed. We won't talk about it anymore because we have talked about it for a couple of days now. But we need to look forward now to 2025 because we're going to do these beer garden tours with Export Ultra every year. So we need to we had Paris for the Rugby World Cup. Then we went to Oktoberfest via Amsterdam. We're going to find something that's going to top that for 2025.
Oh, can anything top that?
Well, I don't know. That's why we'll throw it out to the audience, I guess. Jump on, let us know on 3236 or maybe a talkback function. Let us know, and then we'll work it out and see where it takes us.
Something stateside, perhaps.
Yeah, Texas, I was thinking.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
barbecue.
Yeah.
Go to the home of the barbecue, the pit fire barbecue.
Does it have to be in September?
It kind of, yeah, it does. It has to be in that kind of end of year, September, October time.
Okay.
So that's the only prerequisite.
Yep.
So if there's any events going on around that time, that would be good.
Yep.
So let us know if we have. I don't know. It's going to have to be a pretty epic trip to top that one.
Man. Yeah. Totally.
We took 12 great New Zealanders with us as well, which is, I've looked to take even more next year, hopefully.
Really?
Yeah. It's a very sought after trip, Jeremy. Very sought after.
Oh, I understand why.
I mean, you could see the vengeance that Matt Heath took on us yesterday when he penned his revenge article about us leaving him behind. But I think he would have had a kindred spirit in Phil from Taranaki. They would have just slept together. They would have just drunk a few beers and then quietly slept on each other's shoulder for most of the trip.
I've never seen someone have such a severe case of drinking narcolepsy in my life. I mean, he got to a certain point, Phil, and then his body just shut down.
Trying to wake him up was very hard.
Why did you see Callum, who was his travel partner,
smacking him around the head,
punching him in the face? And nothing from Phil, just absolutely nothing. But he could not get him out of the cab, though, because he was a dead weight. And he was a reasonably sturdy fellow, Phil.
Yeah.
Great New Zealander.
But very sleepy.
Yeah, very sleepy.
Very
But
sleepy.
I enjoyed Callum and Phil. I enjoyed Tom and James.
Yep. Tall Tom.
Yep. Good guys.
Yep. And then, we
enjoyed Mel.
We just heard Mel. Mel came back, wrist broken. Confirmed she's in a cast.
Rubbish.
Yeah, she's in a
It's
cast.
a scaphoid bone.
Yeah, she's in her cast. She had a bit of a tumble at Beerfest, so she's got a little souvenir from Beerfest for the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Would you say she had a tumble, or would you say that one of the other winners fell on her?
Either or.
Yeah.
I think both. Anyway, we'll take a quick break and we'll come back and talk some actual kind of sport. Okay, I don't know if you've seen this, Jerry, around Johnny Sexton has released a book. Johnny Sexton, the former Irish first 5'8", has released a book, and as most books do, looking for some headlines. And he's dug up the semi-final of the Rugby World Cup from last year again. Can you remember that at the final whistle, him and Rieko Ioane went at each other for a little bit? Can you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What were they talking about?
Well, he's released it in his book, and to me, it's a bit moany for me. It's like harden up. Anyway, what happened was the penalty. Sam Whitelock over the top of the ball.
Yeah,
got the penalty. He's obviously still disputes it in his book. Says it wasn't a penalty. Whatever. Fuck off. And Rieko Ioane said, "Get 10 metres back, mate. It's a penalty." He says, "Back 10, back 10." And just like was basically saying, "Get out of here, mate." And then Barnes blows the final whistle when they kick it out. And then Rieko Ioane says, "Don't miss your flight tomorrow. Enjoy your retirement, you cunt."
Oh, okay.
And Johnny Sexton said, "So much for the All Blacks' famous no dickheads policy. So much for their humility. I chase after Ioane and call him a fake humble fucker." Which I think is a pretty bad comeback. It doesn't look great, me having a go at one of them just after we've lost, but I can't be expected to ignore that.
That's a big call from Rieko. If that's what he did say.
But that is a lot. But there was a lot of tension in that game, because you remember Brodie Retallick also gave Peter Marnie a bit of stick as well, because he called Sam Cane a fake Richie McCaw.
Yeah.
So they're obviously big on the fake humble fucker kind of things. But you know what? I'd say get over it, you pussy.
Well, the other thing about it is it was still said on the field, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what stays on the field, what goes on the field stays on the field.
Not when you're trying to sell books.
Yeah, that's right. But I do understand there's a little bit of tension between the Irish and the All Blacks. And the Irish, because the Irish were good there for a while.
They went 17 games unbeaten.
Yeah.
That was their first loss. They were favourites to win the whole thing.
And they started to think that they created some kind of legacy. And they started to think that probably they're a little bit better than what they actually were. And they forget that for the longest time they've been completely humiliated by the All Blacks.
Yeah.
But still, Rieko, I mean, he didn't, I don't know.
He didn't need to say it, but
he's retiring, you know. He's annoying though, Johnny Sexton.
I know. That's what I mean.
He's annoying.
And they are not innocent, the Irish team. I mean, the fact they were baiting Sam Cane the whole time about being fake Richie McCaw and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a way of selling books, but you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, over it. You're a grown man.
I'm kind of impressed.
I've been called a cunt many times.
Well, you are a cunt. So, I mean, it's accurate.
Yeah, and so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't turn around and put it in a book.
Yeah. I mean, what actually surprises me that there's that level of banter going on a rugby field. Because previously there didn't used to be, it wasn't a sport that there was a lot of banter in.
Just a lot of punching.
People were tired. People were gasping for breath half the time. But now there's so much time around scrums and stuff. You got plenty of. I was told that Brodie Retallick was a big chirper.
Yeah, well, he's the one that chirped Peter Marnie. I think what did he say? 4 more years. Just the classic Regan thing. 4 more years. Done. 4 more years, mate.
But still, yeah, I heard that. I heard that there's a bit more banter now than what there used to be. I guess professionalism changed things a little bit.
Yeah, I think he would think it'd be quite dangerous though, because the amount of microphones they've got around shotgun mics they've got on field, they can pretty much pick up anything. I don't know if you watched the game on Saturday night, but the Georgian referee, Count Dracula, one of the Aussies called him a stupid cunt. And you could hear it on the microphone, but he doesn't speak English, so he didn't really know. And you hear in the background, he penalised Australia. He's like, "You fucking stupid cunt." And James McConey, normally a professional commentator would apologise on behalf of the player. Yeah. We just laughed it off and actually repeated it.
Well, what's the deal with that? So whose responsibility is it to not allow profanity to come through? Because is it the host? Is it the broadcaster?
No. But why then? Yeah, it's a good point.
So if someone complained about that, who would be liable for any kind of
It would be the broadcaster because they've broadcasted that profanity.
Okay, well, it's quite dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially live. There's not a dump button like Murray Deakin used to have on his.
He never used the dump button.
No,
this was the problem.
He could never find it. That was part of the problem.
The dump button, for those of you who don't know, is the 4-second delay that a lot of talkback hosts have. And I'd say that Matt Heath will be definitely employing the delay button on his first few weeks as Hodaki listeners ring up and try and prank him.
Yeah.
But is that the reason why commentators apologise on behalf of the broadcasters for the language, so they can kind of mitigate any sort of complaint?
Maybe. But was it true, that situation with Murray Deakin, that what happened is someone would ring him up and start talking code with him?
Oh, yeah.
And engage him?
Yeah.
And then say, "You're a bald cunt."
Yeah, it's one of the great. It's on YouTube. You search it. Search Murray Deakin, bald cunt. It's one of the great. The guy just leads them on, and he talks about Auckland rugby and what the problem. And he goes, "You are Damien. You are bang on. I totally agree. The fact that rugby at the moment is not facilitated by the right people. You're speaking my language, Damien." And he goes, "Just one more thing, Murray. Yes, Damien. You're a bald cunt."
I love that.
It was such a long game.
I love it.
They've got a name for people like you, Damien. Anyway, next caller.
He couldn't find the dump button.
He doesn't have it. He didn't believe in it. Right. He didn't believe in the dump button. Didn't want to do it. Right, we'll take a quick break and we're just going to chat a bit of Black Caps.
Oh, God.
So, Black Caps 2-0 Sri Lanka. We now have, from the 16th of October, so in a couple of weeks' time, to the 6th of November, we have 3 tests in India. First one in Bangalore. Mm-hmm. Tends to turn a bit.
Should be easy.
Pune.
Yep. It's going to turn a bit.
And Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai.
It's got a bit of pace and bounce, doesn't it, Wankhede?
Yeah, not as turny as Bangalore and Pune.
Yeah.
But are we staring down the barrel of losing potentially 7 test matches in a row?
Well,
we are, aren't we?
Well, what would you put your house on? If you could put your house on something in that situation, would it be for New Zealand to even have it? I mean, what is it a monsoon season at the moment?
It's just finished. It was on the end of monsoon season. That's why that first test against Afghanistan got.
Okay.
Because they were relying on the monsoon season finishing by then, but it hadn't.
Has it stopped now, definitely?
I don't know.
Okay. Because my money would be on 3-0.
Oh, man.
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know, but
what's our record over there? I'm sure we've won a test.
One.
We've won one test.
Yes.
In the whole history of New Zealand cricket, we've managed, with all the teams we've had, all the great players we've had in the past, we've managed, against some pretty ordinary Indian teams at times, we've managed to win one test. Do you think that we could salvage this team could salvage one test out of we've just been beaten 2-0 in Sri Lanka.
Maybe the only one, like you mentioned, is Wankhede. I think we'll get well and truly beaten in Bangalore and Pune. But when it comes to Wankhede, maybe the Indians will, take the foot off the throat. But they're playing for World Test Championship points.
Yeah.
So I can't see them doing that.
No. The other problem is, as New Zealand cricketers now, these are not stadiums that we're unfamiliar with. I mean, our guys through IPL have played heaps.
Yeah.
And Sim Southee was based in Mumbai for a long time.
Yeah, and Bangalore.
Yeah. So, these are grounds that they know well. The problem is that we are the worst players of spin in world cricket. And that is a fact. And I don't think there's a solution to that problem, because when you're growing up in New Zealand, the reality is you just don't face a lot of quality spin in trying conditions. And I think the hardest thing for New Zealand batsmen is when you start losing wickets against spin. And you think about this yourself, when you've come in situations where a spinner starts to dominate and the ball's turning, and it's hard to get established. You don't get a short one outside off stump that you can smash through point. It's not that easy. You've got to use the pace yourself. And also, the other problem is, and this happened in those tests in Sri Lanka, our guys were getting starts and they were battling away and working past half centuries. But with spin, when you've got two spinners operating, it's a different rhythm. You've got to go after it. You've got to keep attacking them to score. But every time you attack, you open up the chance to getting out as well. It's complicated. Man, psychologically, we're just not set up for that sort of cricket.
Yeah, we're not, because you look at the domestic scene, there's not that many spinners.
No.
Because we don't have wickets. But mind you, remember the wickets last season? And they were turning, like we misread both wickets against South Africa. We almost lost against the South African D team.
Yeah, but slow turn.
Yeah.
Occasionally a little bit of bounce in New Zealand.
Yeah. Like Basic Reserve had a bit of bounce and a bit of turn.
Yeah, again, spinners do well there. But it goes back generations and generations. I mean, I remember talking to Dan Vittori. He said New Zealand is the hardest country in the world to bowl spin in. It's the one place that you get the least. You get a little bit of bounce every now and then. Yeah. But in Australia, you'll get bounce. You'll also get turn on the final days.
Yeah.
India, obviously, you get turn. Sometimes you get bounce as well. You get prodigious turn, sometimes on day one. England, some pitches turn and some bounce. Depends, but there is some bounce and turn there. South Africa nowadays, a lot of the pitches are slow. They'll turn. So the West Indies turns. New Zealand is the last bastion of non-turning
of green seamers.
Yeah.
Green seamers, slow
We're
turns.
the last one.
I suppose that's the only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the big reasons Dan was so successful is because he was so tall. He managed to extrapolate the bounce in New Zealand as opposed to just someone like Ajaz Patel, who's not a big man and doesn't bowl with a lot of pace.
Yeah.
He just kind of just floats it up, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So probably the reason why he was so successful here and it translated overseas as well. So we're going to come into the England series potentially against England. First test against England starts end of November down in Christchurch. And we'll be coming off potentially, I don't know, what's our biggest losing streak in Test cricket?
Oh, it's way more than 7.
Is it? In a row?
100%.
Oh, okay.
We didn't win a test until what?
Oh, that's
1950 something?
Yeah, it's true.
So don't forget, we were on a losing streak from the start. But I think as well, they're professional enough, these guys, to know that there is no expectation that we went to the subcontinent and won a series.
Yeah.
This team is not good enough to do that. It's a New Zealand team that's rebuilding. We don't have the stars. We just don't have the players. We don't have the quality spinners to go over there and win a series. So I don't think anyone's expecting anything. So at least when we come home to Wellington, they're professional enough that they'll push the refresh button and they'll go, we can definitely win against England in our home conditions. We have no doubt about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, you give me hope. You give me hope then.
Are you worried about you were really worried about us at home?
Yeah, a little bit, because if you come off 7 straight losses, potentially in Asia, which I know is different, but I don't know.
Different ball game in New Zealand.
I'm a little bit. The one thing I am excited about is Will O'Rourke, and the fact that he's getting wickets in Sri Lanka. He'll probably get wickets in India as well. But he's looking really good.
Yeah, Punisher O'Rourke.
Punishing good looking, big unit, steaming in.
Yeah.
Just what we need. Southee's struggling a little bit. Didn't get many wickets. A bit of pressure on to get Matt Henry back in the team, apparently, what I'm hearing. So that'll be interesting to see what they do and what old Gary Stead does in India.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. Well, first game starts 16th of October, so they've got a couple of weeks to get used to the conditions over in India before that kicks off. All of that's on Sky Sport as well, if you want to see that. But I think we're going to knock this on the head because I need to go have a lie down.
Yeah, good call.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast, brought to you by Export Ultra. For more episodes, like and follow on iHeartradio or wherever you get your podcasts.